Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're watching from. Thank you so much for joining us here at Apex Racing TV for Cross Series League Racing. It's the third of 4 rounds in the Wing Sprint portion of the calendar from the world-famous Eldora Speedway. This round presented to you by Shears Salon. I am Tyler Newitt, joined in the commentary booth by Avery McDonald this week. And running the cameras and everything behind the scenes, as always, for us is the fabulous Marco Barbanera. Well, Avery, we've had 2 rounds in the Wing Sprint so far at some pretty tight and flat tracks. Pretty tight confines for these sprints. I think these drivers will definitely be looking forward to the race here at Eldora to really get these sprints up to their full potential and stretch their legs.
Yeah, we go from the short tracks of Lanier and Cedar Lake out to the big track that Earl built, Eldora. And Eldora's got a lot of space. Tyler, we didn't really get to see much slide jobs the last 2 weeks, but this track here at Eldora has the opportunity for some good sliders. I put some time on this track a little bit earlier, and it's fast, and you're in the gas. So just hold the wheel straight and let it fly. That's gonna be the goal tonight.
Definitely. We are just waiting on the end of qualifying here. Most everybody set their times, but a few drivers haven't, so we're going to have to wait for that to tick over. But those of you who have been keeping up with Cross Series League Racing are going to see some familiar names at the front, I have to believe. But first, want to give a shout out to our presenting sponsor for today's race, Shears Salon. They're located in Grand Forks, North Dakota. Shears Salon, trust your peers, come to Shears. You can find them on Facebook at Samantha Superior Styles. And so definitely go check them out if you're in the Grand Forks area. I think we are just finished with qualifying. There are your results. So Ashley Mullino, runner-up last time out at Cedar Lake, puts it on pole here ahead of Rob Crawley. Robert Schwenkler is 3rd, Bobby Ross 4th, Jimmy Howitt in 5th. Josh Klog qualifies 6th ahead of Gary DiPiero, James Keir in 8th, Chet Duranick 9th, Trey Garst in 10th. Or is that our starting lineup for heat number 1? It definitely is, so don't listen to me there. That is the one half of your qualifying order, I should say. This is your race lineup for heat number 1. We're going to have 2 heats for you for the 20 drivers who have entered this week. And then we will head to the consolation race. So it'll be 4 drivers to transfer. So at the moment, those spots held by Mullino, Crawley, Schwenkler, and Ross. And we'll see if they can hold them through these 8-lap heats. Avery, they've been quite frenetic. No caution in the heat races. So definitely want to keep your nose clean, but also you really have to get going fast. They don't last long, these heat qualifying races.
No, you need to get out to a really good start. Definitely with the heat races, only 8 laps, and if you're in that transfer spot, just try to maintain where you're at. No need to. We have a little bit of excitement there with the 35 of Crawley. Maybe a screen went black or lost connection and went down into the wall. Drivers to look out for. Ashley Mullino last week finished 2nd, and Ashley said, "I'm much better at the small ovals, but qualifying on pole here at Eldora." Ashley's sure showing a lot of speed. And then another driver to look out for, Bobby Ross. I tell you what, man's been on a mission this weekend. Finished his first podium in his go-kart today over a year and a half. So if that brings some good luck into this one, watch out for him.
Yeah, he is right on the bubble, starting 4th in that transfer spot. He's got one of his dangerous teammates to the inside. That's Robert Schwenkler. So definitely 2 to keep an eye on there in the 2nd row. It does look like Crawley has recovered from whatever their issues were to the outside, and just in time as the pace truck pulls off, Mullino holds them for a while. A late jump there. I think she might have thought that Crawley was trying to jump or guess the start, and that's really hurt Ross, who we were just talking about, dropped back to 5th, but this is Eldora. You can get a really nice run in that middle groove, and Ross does just that to take that 4th spot back from Jimmy Howitt. We've got 88. A car upside down in the back. That's Keir and Garst, who has been strong both rounds so far of the Wing Sprint. Trey Garst is going to have to fight his way in through the consolation race. He's out of this one.
Yep, Garza will have to go to the consolation race, so will Kier. But Molino out in front, and the battle right now is for second, third, and fourth. It's Crowley, Howitt, and Schwenkler in the final spots of the transfer. There's DiPiero right on Schwenkler's rear end, right on that rear bumper, and doing a really good job trying to get to the final spot. Transfer 4 laps to go here at Eldora.
Yeah, everybody working that bottom groove for now. I think it's going to take a little bit, maybe until the consolation or the feature, to get that top line working. Although saying that, Ross gets a run there on the outside around Josh Klog, who you just mentioned. But he's dropping back and kind of stuck on that outside. And it really just doesn't seem like the place to be at this point in the day.
He's got a good run going in the corner, but the exit, just too much grip down on the bottom of the racetrack. And DiPiero, he's kind of like, guys, just let me go. Let me try to catch up to Schwenkler and get that final spot of the transfer. It's the white flag flies here at Eldora.
Yeah, and that is not even for the transfer spot. This is third and fourth. Howitt and Schwenkler fighting for third. This is 3 wide. This is for the pole in the consolation race. And I think Ross just got it from DiPiero. Indeed, he did. Per the results, it's going to be Bobby Ross ahead of Gary DiPiero, but that is just for the pole in the consolation. They're still going to have to fight their way into the feature. So there are your Heat 1 results. Ashley Molino leads from lights to flat to take the win. Rob Crawley, Jimmy Howitt worked his way forward and into the top 3. And Schwenkler takes that final transfer spot from Heat number 1.
Yeah, what a good run by Schwenkler. Bobby Ross had a good run. He's got that good start net for that consolation race, but Tyler was a good clean race. Only 2 heats here at Eldora with this 410 sprint car, so here's a good look at that starting lineup.
Indeed, it's Mike Sorum from Adam Thompson, 2 drivers who have had some pretty good success in these winged sprints so far. Trevor Anderson, Tyler Coates round out the Heat 2 transfer spots as it stands at the start. Behind them, Alex Anderson, Jaden Darling, James Truitt, Scott Benavides, Tyler Campbell, and Kevin Irwin will all be fighting to try and work their way forward. And as they're pacing, want to give a shout out to another one of our series sponsors, Laketown Creation. Family owned and operated, Laketown Creations builds custom, heartfelt creations using wood and other materials for your home and office. We can turn your vision into a reality. Check them out on Facebook at Laketown, that is LAKETOWN Creations.
Yeah, Adam Thompson ran super strong last week at Cedar Lake, starting on the outside. Row number 2. Mike Sorum had a rough race at Cedar Lake, but showed speed at Lanier. That's that Grand Forks, North Dakota driver. I really like the paint he always supports and always sends the cat in the picture. It's good to see the animals of the drivers. Definitely
gets him some airtime, I think. Everybody knows where it is on track, and a great qualifying run for Mike. Second overall, holding him as well in this stage. And they really stacked up towards the mid-pack, and that's going to cause some trouble. I saw a car headed towards the wall. I want to say it was Kevin Irwin, and I think Scott Benavides was also in there. But around the outside, last week's winner, Adam Thompson, he wants the lead, and he's got it from Mike Sorum. Really using that middle groove to good effect. Mike just couldn't get the momentum going on the inside. He's going to have to fight back if he wants to start on the front row in the feature race.
Speaking of drivers trying to make it into the feature race, that's Tyler Coates, who's able to work to the bottom of the racetrack to get around the Andersons on the start. So really, Tyler Coates moving up to third, really running a smooth line as the track is starting to slick off just a little bit, but most drivers are still running the bottom.
Yeah, you can just start to see the finer dirt forming up towards the top of the track, but really not much going on up there. You saw Alex Anderson try that way high line, but just not enough, or really the bottom is still too fast to make that work. It's not that there isn't grip up there. It's just that it's still quicker to run that bottom line, although we may be starting to see that shift as Sorum, trapped on the bottom, sees Tyler Coates, who you mentioned just now, working his way forward, makes his way around the outside of Sorum. So perhaps that top lane is just starting to come in a little bit. We see kind of that whole field running about a car width or 2 off of that darker patch, whereas in the first heat race. They were right down to the bottom. As we get the white flag already for the heat race, it's Adam Thompson with a commanding lead from Tyler Coates and Mike Sorum, who started on pole. Trevor Anderson started third, but is still in with a chance of transferring, although now Alex is battling him. They're right neck and neck coming to the line. I think it is going to be Trevor who wins the battle of the Andersons, at least this round. Indeed it is. Trevor's going to move forward to that feature race. Alex is going to have to fight his way through in the consolation. So here are your results from heat number 2. Adam Thompson seals his spot on the front row for the feature. Tyler Coates as well will be towards the front. Mike Storm, Trevor Anderson also transfer on. Alex Anderson, James Truitt, Tyler Campbell, Jaden Darling, Kevin Irwin, Scott Benavides will all have to work their way forward in the consolation race, which is coming up in just a moment. I think we have the field gridding right now. And here is your grid for the consolation race. Bobby Ross will start on pole, Alex Anderson in second, Gary DiPiero in third, James Truitt fourth, Josh Klog fifth, Tyler Campbell sixth, Chet Duranick seventh, Jaden Darling eighth, James Keir in ninth, Kevin Irwin 10th, Trey Garst 11th, and Scott Benavides in last. So we are going to have 7 drivers from this group transferred to the feature. Currently, Keir holds that 7th spot. Garst, who we mentioned had that incident in race number 1, has been strong all season through the winged sprint races, I should say. So expect to see him move forward. While they are pacing, just want to give another shout out to one of the series sponsors, Acer Engines. For over 30 years, Acer Engine Supply has been rebuilding and restoring engines of all shapes and sizes in the Colorado Springs area. Today, their attention to detail and commitment to customers remains unchanged. From restoring an old classic to getting your daily driver running again, Acer Engine Supply will get you back on the road. Visit them at acerengines.com. They head down the backstretch now. Lights out on the pace truck. Who's your pick for that that final transfer spot here, Avery?
That final transfer spot, I'm going with the guy that's on the pole for this one, Bobby Ross at 33. He's showed a lot of speed, a little wiggle on the start there, but he's going to work. He's on the bottom of the racetrack, but here comes Alex Anderson on the outside. The track is definitely starting to slick off. Anderson up into the wall.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you there, but Anderson really had a wiggle on. Just smacked that wall with the right rear. That's not going to do too much in these dirt sprints, but it certainly caught my attention. And I have to imagine caught Anderson's as well, as we've got major carnage. Cars flipping there. That's Truitt, DiPiero, and Campbell all involved. I think Klog was in there as well. No cautions in the consolation, so leaders coming right up on the scene of the crime and working their way through as cars limping around back to the pit. Looks like DiPiero and Truitt are going to be out of contention for this one. Campbell as well. So who does that put in the transfer spot right now? That would be Jaden Darling in 7th in the 81 car. He's got Benavides right with him and Irwin just ahead of him. So this is your transfer battle here. Currently held by the 81 of Darling. That's the middle car on your screen, kind of the black and gold one. Kevin Irwin, one spot to the good at the moment. As we see, more contact. This is well within the transfer window. That's going to hurt James Keir and has dropped him out of position. So James Keir potentially, but that's Jaden Darling, who we were just talking about, holding that final transfer spot. Now he makes contact with Keir, but Keir gets through. Chaos here over the final transfer spot. So Keir went for a spin, but is currently back in that transfer spot. Behind him is Campbell, who is involved in that first incident. It's going to be really tight here. It's tough to tell because Campbell's a lap down and Keir is not as it stands at the moment. But Keir is only just in front of the race leaders, so there could still be a battle on for that final transfer spot. There is Campbell. There is your race leader, Bobby Ross. Of course, if Ross doesn't get to lap Keir before the end of it, he won't make much of a difference. But we are on the final lap for our race leader, Bobby Ross. Looks like he is going to comfortably cruise into the feature race. Trey Garst working his way from second to last on the grid up to second, a phenomenal run for him. He's going to easily transfer. Behind them, it is Anderson, Duranic, Irwin, Benavides, and it does look like Kier is going to secure that final transfer spot, though. It was looking sketchy there for a moment.
Yeah, I was able to, kind of recap throughout that race, and now these drivers are going to that 1 minute warm up. So there's your consolation results. Bobby Ross from the green light to the checkered flag, and then Trey Garst, Alex Anderson, Chet Duranic, Kevin Irwin, Scott Benavides, and James Kier. Those are the drivers that have moved on to the A main. And one thing to keep in mind though is, let's take a look at there's the championship standings. It's the same track as the consolation as it is onto the main event. The track does not reset.
Absolutely, and that's definitely going to shake up how we see these drivers running. And although everyone gets to take part in this brief warm-up session before the feature race, you wonder if maybe some of the drivers in the consolation might have a little bit of an advantage here, doing a few laps there, getting a sense for where the line is, where the grip is on track right now. Of course, anyone who is already locked into the feature was going to be watching that consolation race and getting a feel for that themselves. But there we see your championship standings so far. Trevor Anderson sits atop. Adam Thompson is quick math in my head, 33 points behind. And that's it for now. We will get your starting order for the next race up in just a moment. There it is. So Ashley Molyneux, pole sitter and winner of heat number 1, will start in first ahead of Adam Thompson. Then it is Rob Crawley, Tyler Coates, Jimmy Howitt, Mike Sorum, Robert Schwenkler, Trevor Anderson, Bobby Ross, Trey Gart, Alex Anderson, Chet Duranic. And just waiting on the scroll. There it is. Kevin Irwin, Scott Benavides, and James Kier, your final transfer driver. And as we wait for them, we have a brief moment to give a couple more shout outs to some of the great series sponsors here, including Chet Duranic and his support for the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation is a nonprofit, volunteer-fueled organization dedicated to finding cures for Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis and improving the quality of life for children and adults affected by these diseases. Visit them at crohnscolitisfoundation.org. In addition, we are sponsored here by Dangerous. Dangerous is a top 3D visualization firm specializing in high-quality 3D product, CAD, package rendering services, and photorealistic product visual. They specialize in automotive subjects and have extensive industrial and consumer product design experience. Let them help you visualize, promote, and communicate your designs. Visit them at dangerous.net. Field pacing. Getting ready to take the green. Molyneux leading them to the green flag. Thompson looking to do one spot better and replicate the top 2 finishing order from last time out.
Yeah, the track is definitely slicked off. Look for the drivers to move up to the cushion here for the beginning of this 30-lap main event. Remember, caution laps do not count here at Eldora. So one more pace lap, it looks like, for these drivers. Ashley Molyneux said last week the shorter ovals are definitely her cup of tea, but starting on the pole, I'd say her and Adam Thompson are definitely the top 2 favorites for tonight's main event.
Yeah, you'd have to believe so. Sorry, what was that, Marco? Yeah, I was wondering, we have had a delayed green, I think just to get things a little bit organized here. But obviously, as caution laps don't count anyway, you'll still get your full 30-lap feature race here. As the pace truck now dives to the pit lane, and Molyneux will lead them off another. They're really holding these drivers up at the start. Of course, it's the leader's prerogative to go until those green lights come on, but this time it's cost Molyneux as Thompson's got a great jump and jumped into the race lead, and Jimmy Howitt looking to follow through.
Yeah, Howard working to the bottom of the racetrack, and big slider on the 407 to Coates, and Coates gets collected with Trevor Anderson, but Jimmy Howard is able to lead that pack through turn 3 and 4. There's Robert Schwenkler there in the 235 working the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, there's a little contact there between a few drivers, but everyone seems to have gotten it mostly sorted and pointed in the right direction here. and we have stayed green for the first 3 laps of this race. As Molyneux, looking to put a slider on Thompson, dives it down to the inside and actually just rides that inside line. Doesn't quite get the slide job done, nor is she able to hold the position as Thompson cruises back ahead. Definitely seems like that bottom groove is pretty much gone away at this point. The track progressing quite quickly as we've got contact between that is Kier and of course Sorum in the pink and black cat car. So trouble there, but they both keep going.
Yeah, Sorum able to keep going after the contact. A lot of drivers are getting real sideways on the bottom. As you see, there's no grip. But when you get up to the cushion, you're flirting with disaster with that wall. There's a fine line, and Thompson and Molyneux are just racing hard at it. Molyneux to look towards the bottom, and upside down is Tyler Coates.
Tyler Coates going for a ride there. I was just about to say, it looks as though Molyneux has the pace to get by Thompson, but there's really only one good groove right now, and that's right up at the wall. So Thompson had contact with the 35. I need to check who that is, but sorry, that was Coates who went for the flip, and it was the 35 of somebody with a custom number. Rob Crawley. Nope, there it is. Not a custom number. So Rob Crawley, part of that incident as well. Yeah, Coates was really struggling on that middle line. It really seems like all of the grip at the moment in the track is right up by the wall there.
Yeah, Thompson was able to take over that lead on Molyneux very early in the race. So the one thing I've noticed with the dirt tracks here on Eldora is you just got to keep working the track and trying to find where grip is.
Yeah, now one of the interesting things about this is pretty much similar to how the actual race start went. Thompson's going to be at the disadvantage here starting on the inside line because it just seems like the top is where the speed is. And we saw Thompson use it at the race start to get the race lead. You wonder if Molyneux is going to do the same thing back to Thompson here.
Yeah, Thompson was able to find grip, and it really helped with Thompson starting on the outside. The roles are reversed. Molyneux's on the outside, Thompson on the inside. Green flag waves.
Big jump from Molyneux there. Thompson tries to send it into turn 1, but just as we thought, Molyneux able to hang it around the outside, take the lead. We've got a car spinning in the back. 2 of them. I think that was Trevor Anderson and potentially Chet Duranic as well. But we stay green for now. Molyneux with the race lead, and Jimmy Howitt has a great run on Thompson here. Ooh, but just tagged the wall there and is going to have to regroup and have another go at it. Really tough to pass right now. Howitt, trying to make that kind of second groove down work, but really just kind of losing speed, losing pace to Thompson as we see Chet Durant stopped on the inside of the track.
Molyneux doing a good job of ripping the cushion. As you see, it is pretty slick, about a lane lower than where she's at, so you have to hit it perfectly, otherwise you're going to just keep on sliding. There's Mike Sorum on the outside of Kier as Kier got into the slick and really slid her pretty good sideways there. So yeah, Kier sitting in that 8th position trying to chase down Sorum, but it's got Bobby Ross right behind him.
Yeah, Ross, who had to go through the consolation race and led that start to finish, hasn't really been able to move forward at all. In fact, Kier, who was the final transfer spot in that consolation race, has done a much better job working his way forward. He's up 7 spots from the start of the race, which is mighty impressive as he is now through on Roth. This is Jimmy Howitt, who has not been able to close back on Thompson. In fact, he's lost spot. So something must have happened to Jimmy Howitt because he's lost positions to Trey Garst and Robert Schwenkler. Garst also up 7 spots from where he started this race. We mentioned his incident. That's Sorum going for a spin there, but gets it back going, although we do now get the caution, I think, for that incident with Mike Sorum. But how about Trey Garst? Caught up in the incident in the first heat race, but I think we knew he'd be working his way forward with the pace he showed in the first couple of winged sprint rounds, and clearly has some competitive pace to fight at the front here.
Yeah, Garst did a really good job of working up through the field, and roles are going to be reversed again for this restart. with Molino going to be on the bottom and Adam Thompson on the outside. We saw it worked for the drivers that were on the outside, so Ashley needs to get a really good start and move up towards the cushion. But the more they run up top, Tyler, it's going to slicken off, and you might see some drivers try to work to the bottom as there might be finding some grip.
Absolutely, they're just kind of chasing the grip up the track, and at some point the grip can't go any further, and the whole track is going to be slicked up, and at that point it's just a matter of where you can find the pace in your car, you know, wherever that setup is working for you, which might be up at the top and it might be down at the bottom. So you're absolutely right. I still think there's enough speed in the top there that Thompson's going to have the advantage on this restart, but we'll have to wait and see if Molino, if she does lose the lead on the restart here, can fight back again, or if we get another restart and get to do it all over again with the same results.
Yeah, I tell you, watch out though for Trey Garst. Has been moving up through the field and has been doing a really good job. Shows a lot of speed in these sprint cars at the past two tracks. Really has been working up the field, so look out for him. He's sitting in third.
Yeah, I'm really curious what Garst can do, although stuck on the inside for this restart could be trouble. He gets a great jump though, as does Molino, and Molino is able to get to that high line. That was a great jump. Thompson's in trouble. Thompson was getting bounced around like a ping pong ball back there. I'm not sure if he was able to keep it in a straight line. He has been able to keep it going, but down quite a few spots already. That's a tough break for Thompson. Now there's contact. He cut right in front of, I want to say it was Jimmy Howitt. Indeed it was. So contact between Thompson and Howitt. They're both going backwards, and it's not where they want to be right now, I don't think.
Got three wide there. Storm was working the bottom of the racetrack, and there's Howitt. Howitt's right on the tail of Bobby Ross. Schwenkler right in front of him. So Adam Thompson still sitting it, has moved back up to the fourth position, starting to rip the cushion, but the caution flag has flown.
Yeah, we got another yellow. Not sure who this one's for. Potentially Tyler Coates. Chet Duranic once again up in the catch fencing there. And he will reset to the pit lane. Let's see if we get a replay here. Looks like Chet might have been all on his own, potentially. It was a spin from Tyler Coates in front of him, and ooh, I didn't quite catch who that was. Scott Benavides, potentially?
Yeah, I think that might have been Scott Benavides. He's down in the pits, and
yeah. But just didn't know that Chet was there and sent him up into the catch fencing. But, well, we've seen the change in pattern now with Ashley Molino able to hold the lead on that previous restart. Can she do it again is the question.
Well, I mean, had a great restart, you know, the last couple times to keep the lead, but here's the difference, Tyler. There's a different driver on the outside, and it's not Adam Thompson anymore. Adam Thompson's on the outside of road number 2. It's Trey Garst. So, I mean, we'll see. You got to get on the hammer and work your way to up to the cushion to maintain that lead. So we'll see what she's gonna do.
Absolutely, by some token is a problem, but in another sense it could be good here because potentially Garst doesn't know when Ashley went on that last restart to get the jump. But this time it looks like Garst has got a great jump, and Ashley has to send it to the inside, pulls the slider up in front of Garst. Garst is going to try and cross it over here. Big send on the crossover, and Garst pulls the slide job off. I think we're going to see the exact same thing once again into turn 1. Molino sends it up. Garst sends it back to the inside, and they're just going to keep going like this until one of them can get really clear, and I don't know when that's going to be.
Yeah, Trey Garst, the Decatur, Illinois driver, was able to get a better exit up the last time in corner 2. Molino was able to work to the wall, kind of slowed up her pace there, but Trey Garst to the lead. We're looking at Bobby Ross. That's the battle for 7th and 8th there with Jimmy Howitt.
Now we see Thompson heading to the inside of Anderson and pulls the slider off. Doesn't look like Anderson's going to be able to cross Thompson back up. And in fact, Schwenkler goes for the dive on Anderson. And now we're just starting to see drivers starting to use that way inside line once again. Maybe that cushion up at the top getting a bit too thin for some of the drivers' liking. but definitely seems like the top few still using that high line to good effect.
Yeah, if you're going to use that bottom of the racetrack, you got to enter below that slick, otherwise you're just going to over-rotate.
Oh, Molyneux was pretty well in the wall there. That's going to open up a big lead for Garst. Molyneux rode the wall all the way from pretty much the entrance of 4 to the exit, which did not help her pace at all. It's given Garst almost a 2-second advantage, though you figure Garst will be in some lap traffic soon, but don't know if that's going to come before the end of this race. Here's Rob Crawley trying to make that inside line work. There you see our race leader. Crawley trying to get the move done on Ross, who's done well to get himself up into 5th place as it stands right now. Oh, and we've got Alex Anderson in the fence, and that's going to set up a sprint to the finish here, Avery.
Yeah, Trey Garst was just getting ready to catch up to lap traffic. They're about a half a turn or a turn in front of him. So take a look at Alex Anderson here. Works to the bottom of the racetrack. And like, oh, yep, up into the wall. Two-wheel slid around the wall and got stuck.
Yeah, Anderson was running well. It's very similar, actually, to what Molyneux did. Realized that Molyneux was pretty lucky not to hop up on the wall there, like we saw with Anderson, as his race is now done. He drops back to 11th place and last of the cars that are, or behind all the cars that are still running. I think 12th on back is out of this race, and potentially now 11th, as I don't know that Anderson's going to be coming back out of the pits after that one. But we're going to have 4 laps to go at this restart here. It'll be Trey Garst on the inside, Ashley Molyneux on the outside. And, well, now 3 of 4 restarts, or starts, we've seen the outside line prevail. Garst is going to want to flip that percentage in the inside line's favor. But you know Molyneux is going to be right on it, as she has been in the thick of it on every restart so far today.
Yeah, we got a single file restart. Their admin crew has changed that, so this is going to help Trey Garst out for sure, because you know Trey won't be having to start on the bottom, and he can able to try to rip the cush.
Yeah, Garst is going to have a strong chance here. Molyneux needs to be tucked right up on the back bumper of that 44 and see if she can get the slider sent off into turn 1. But it's a great jump from Trey Garst, and he defends well to the inside. Molyneux's got a brush with the wall, and Thompson's going to try and take second from her. But this looks like it's going to be all Trey Garst, barring a mistake, as Molyneux still struggling in the wall. I think Thompson's through now indeed. Molyneux fighting for 3rd place with Roth. Just not enough of that cushion, and Molyneux kept getting into the wall, and ultimately costly, very costly on this final restart, as Trey Garst is taking the white flag. What a performance, though, for Trey Garst. Trouble in the heat race, having to fight his way through the consolation race from the back of the field. What an impressive run from Trey Garst, back to front, and he is going to take the checkered flag in the feature. As you see the rest of the field filing through, your top 3, Garst, Thompson, Molyneux, but can't say enough about the run that Garst put on today, Avery. It was not easy to pass out there, but we definitely passed more cars than anybody else, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, he put down 9 drivers he passed from his starting spot to get the win, and when the pressure was on, he felt no pressure. He was able to get on that bookie pedal and just get a good start and just glide away to the win. But how about Adam Thompson recovering from some incidents in the race and finishing 2nd, then Ashley Molyneux taking home 3rd. So if you want to finish up in this podium, you gotta rip it around these tracks, and a good job to everybody in this race. There's 15 drivers that put on a really good show.
We've got a battle to try and get onto the victory podium there. I think Molyneux was wanting to claim a win that was not hers, but now Trey Garst has found his way up to the winner's circle here at Eldora with a well-deserved win. Really impressive run. So here are your results from the feature. Trey Garst wins it ahead of Adam Thompson. Ashley Molyneux loses the spot on the final restart down to 3rd. Robert Schwenkler brings it home in 4th. Jimmy Howitt in 5th. Mike Sorum recovers from some incidents to come home in 6th. James Keir in 7th. Rob Crawley in 8th. Bobby Ross 9th. Kevin Irwin 10th. Alex Anderson 11th. Trevor Anderson 12th. Tyler Coates 13th. Chet Duranic 14th. And Scott Benavides rounding out the field in 15th. Well, we've got some folks who want to talk to us, so I am going to pull Trey Garst, our race winner, into the lobby. Trey, are you tired out from passing all those cars? Because you sure had your work cut out for you after the heat race there.
No, I'm freaking amped, dude.
Well, it was a mighty impressive performance. Obviously, we saw your wreck in the heat race and coming from the back in the consolation race. Really tremendous run. What was the key for you there? Was it staying out of trouble, or was it really just having to fight your way forward?
Really just a little bit of both. I mean, I know I'm really fast at this track. This is one of my favorite tracks. So I spent a lot of time here, and I just felt like luck was on my side tonight.
Absolutely. We saw the move you made for the lead on the second to last restart, sending the slider in on Ashley. Really impressive, especially considering how much the line had formed up top. Were you confident it was going to stick, or were you a little worried sending it in that deep on the restart?
Honestly, it was just kind of a do or die moment for me. I knew if I didn't do it, she's probably gonna run away from me on the top, and I'd run out of time trying to catch her again. So I just kind of sent it in there and kind of hope it stuck.
Well, again, Trey, really impressive performance. We've got one more 410 wing sprint round for you guys in the Cross Series League racing coming up at Knoxville. Do you feel as good about Knoxville as you do at Eldora, or are you going to have to put in a little more practice there?
I actually am even more confident going into Knoxville than I am Eldora. Knoxville's
fantastic.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Knoxville's kind of like like my home track, I guess you could say on here. We used to race there weekly, so it's kind of special.
Well, that's a bold statement, so look out, everybody. Trey is apparently going to be even quicker at Knoxville, so going to be tough to hold you back, I'd have to say, my friend. Trey, do you have anyone you'd like to give a shout-out to before we let you go?
Yeah, I got to thank ABR Setup Shop for getting this rocket rolling. Tub Quality Threads, Trent Pullman Designs, Align iRacing Supply, Bell Helmets, Caden Stoll for having me on the team, Banff Enterprises. It just couldn't do without them.
Excellent. Well, phenomenal performance, Trey. You really put on a show. So thanks for that from the viewing audience, and we look forward to seeing you next time out at Knoxville.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And Avery, I'm going to grab our runner-up for you, Adam Thompson.
Hey, Adam, congrats on a great run. You had a little slip up a little bit into the main, but able to pull back into a second-place finish. How was the track coming to you towards the end? Because it looked like you were picking up a lot of speed.
Well, I'm still shaking after that one, Avery, but if I'm going to be totally honest with you, I underfueled the car. Didn't realize I underfueled it. So honestly, I think a lot of my fuel savings that I was trying to do allowed me to run the car a little easier around that top line, and it looked like that top line was the only way to go. With that being said, I do want to apologize about one of my restarts to the guys behind me. It was probably the second to last restart, I think, but man, I tried to get on the throttle and the tires just spun and I was everywhere, and that's not how I want to run this league, and that's not how I want to run in this league. So I apologize to those guys behind me for that.
Yeah, definitely learn from those incidents, but I tell you what, you really showed a lot of speed. You took home heat race number 2 and really, I mean, put you in a good spot, and you drove back up the field to a solid podium spot. We brought up the Trey earlier. We go to Knoxville Raceway next week, and if you're talking about the tracks that anybody wants to win at, Knoxville is definitely on the top of that list. What do you think of Knoxville?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Honestly, to be honest, I think a lot of us were looking forward to these two big dirt tracks to finish out this series. Knoxville is a whole different beast, as you know, than Eldora. The bankings are there's a little more banking in Knoxville. Could create for some interesting passing opportunities, but Eldora did the same thing this weekend. So, to be honest, I'm looking forward to it. If I can keep running the races that I'm running like this, and keep gaining some points on Trevor Anderson, that's my goal. I've got to try to gain some points back on him.
Well, you gained some points on him today as Trevor Anderson took home 12, so it's always good for your guys to get some more points on to close the gap up a little bit. But before we let you go, anybody like to thank?
Yeah, Avery, first of all, I want to thank you, man. You said you're not going to be with us for the rest of the season, so thank you so much for commentating. You guys have done a great job. The whole Apex Racing crew has done a great job so far this season, and I want to thank you guys for working with me and Rob, getting everything done for the weekends. I know it's a lot of work. I know you guys got a lot to do, so thank you. Big thank you and shout out to you and the whole Apex crew. But I also want to shout out all of our sponsors, guys, for XSLR. We wouldn't be able to put this broadcast on if we didn't have money from the sponsors. So that's Jaden Dartling with Tamalpais Tanning, Rob Schwenkler with with Dangerous, Mike Sorum's girlfriend, Samantha, Shears Salon. We also got a new sponsorship from Butt Kicker this week, so that's always cool to see. Bobby Ross put some money in for us. Tyler Coates with Nexus Fab, and Jimmy Howitt with Jim Perry Racing. All those guys, we wouldn't be able to do this without you, and we wouldn't be able to do it without the drivers. I'm so happy with this league. You have no idea. This is such a cool thing to be a part of.
Oh yeah, it's definitely it starts at the top and it definitely trickles down to the members. It's a fun league to call. Anytime I see dirt racing on the schedule, I always want to be a part of it.
I don't blame you.
So congrats on that second place finish, Adam. We'll see you at Knoxville next week.
All right, thanks, Avery. And make sure to give a big shout out to Ashley. She was running with broken suspension for the last 5 laps, so for her to be able to pull a third place in with broken suspension is it's really cool, really good feat.
Absolutely.
All right, have a good.
Well, that was Adam Thompson, and just as he mentioned, I am going to grab our third place finisher, Ashley Milano. How are you?
I'm furious. How are you?
Well, it was a battle of who had the top for most of the race, and it seemed like it bit you there at the end. Adam just mentioned you were running the last 5 laps with broken suspension. We saw you get the wall. I think just before the final caution. Really, though, have to commend you on your performance. With the pole and the heat win, and really fighting at the front. It just didn't go your way at the end, did it?
No, unfortunately, and there's a lot to be proud of with that, because I'm proud of the pole, even if this is just hit gas, turn left for qualifying for the most part. There's still a particular line, and if you miss it by a little bit, you can be like 2 or 3 tenths off even. So I'm proud of that. Dominated the heat, dominated most of the feature, and then saw Trey behind me. I was like, well, I'm gonna have to race really hard now because Trey is extremely good at this. Battled with him for a few laps, and then I made it's my own fault. I'm not saying this is anyone's, but my own. I made one error because I accidentally lost focus and was listening to the in-game chat about an incident report and just clobbered the wall, and it destroyed the rear of the car. After that, whenever I went to throw it into the corner, even if I was on the slick, it just would go straight, no matter what I did with the wheel, until way later than it should, and then it would get some rotation back. But it was just destroyed. And I'm furious about that because I could have won this. And beating someone like Trey is an honor.
Well, yeah, Trey was super quick for sure, fighting from the back. But kind of talk us through what your process was on the restarts there, because it really seemed to be tough to get an advantage if you were on the inside, and you had a couple of them where you started from the lead, including one where you actually held it on the inside, which was pretty impressive given how that went for most of the race. So what was kind of your mindset on those restarts, and what ultimately was working for you out there?
I knew from our practice races, mainly against Adam, because him and I were the two battling in those for the groups that we did them with, that I would consistently get beaten on the restart, because I have a tendency just to lay the wing flat and not touch it again, because I like having no downforce in most cars I drive. doesn't really work too well in dirt, as I'm finding out and becoming comfortable with. But what I started doing was dialing the wing back to 5 when I'd been running it at 0, and then turning down into parts of the track on the straightaway that hadn't really been slicked up all that much. And that was allowing the tires to bite more and allow me to throw it into the high side, whereas the people on the outside were still restarting in that slick zone. And that was consistently a good thing.
Yeah, well, really awesome insight there. Thank you, Ashley. And we've already heard from the first 2 drivers we've talked to that they're both definitely looking forward to Knoxville. Can you say the same?
Yes and no. No, because same thing I said last week, despite how I did today, I don't like these types of tracks all that much. I started iRacing on paved short tracks. I like bull rings, I like really tight corners, that type of stuff, right? The full throttle stuff or close to it's not really ever been my thing. But I'm also looking forward to it because I'm absolutely livid and I'm going to win that. So,
fantastic.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, do you have anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, y'all for doing the broadcast again, because it's really good to watch these after the fact. I normally, after every race, I'll go back there and just play the whole thing through, see what other people are doing, listen to what y'all were saying. Thanks again to Adam for putting on the show. I guess technically thanks to myself now that I'm part of the admin team, because I'm helping with that. But thanks to my mom, as normal.
Well,
also, thanks to Adam's dog, Lewis.
Fantastic. Well, Ashley, congratulations on your second consecutive podium there, and I hope you can keep the streak going at Knoxville, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you very much. See you next week when I win.
Well, a very confident Ashley Molyneux there, and somewhat justifiably so, because she had a really strong race going until right at the end there. Definitely showed some solid pace, and I think you have to figure she'll be in the mix at Knoxville. But Avery, that'll do it for us here at Eldora. Some really excellent racing, as has been the case through the entirety of the series so far with XSLR. Any final thoughts on that one, Avery?
Great race again. Every race I've had a chance to call has been a lot of fun, and I definitely will watch Knoxville next week. I'll probably won't be able to watch till like Monday or Tuesday, but you saw Trey Garst end up on top this time, and Adam Thompson was on top last time. And Ashley Molyneux says, "I'm coming for the win." And if you've tuned in for tonight, make sure you tune in next week for Knoxville, because some of the best racing you'll ever see on iRacing happens to be at one of the greatest dirt tracks in the world, the Knoxville Raceway. But it's a lot of fun calling the races. It's been an honor.
Absolutely, and unfortunately, we're not going to have Avery with us for the rest of the season because he's a little too busy doing other things. But I think between Josh and Austin and myself, and maybe some sneaky guest commentators in there, we're going to bring you the rest of this XSLR series and what is sure to be some really fantastic racing from here on out. But let me tell you what is coming up on Apex Racing TV. First off, tomorrow on Monday, we have the Apex Racing League Formula V series from round 4 at Lime Rock, which really just feels like the perfect track for those cars. They'll go great around there, I'm sure. On Tuesday, we have for you the Rickmatech Lamborghini Trophy Series. Of course, that's Monday evening for those of you here in the U.S. Otherwise, early Tuesday for the rest of you, and that's coming to you from Watkins Glen. And never seen a bad race around Watkins Glen, so definitely want to tune in for that. Also on Wednesday, is going to be the Ray Esports Racing League round 4 at Road America. Followed up also on Wednesday with the IRX Rallycross World Championship Qualifying Series, round 7 at Charlotte. Those guys always put on a good show. The Apex Racing League Truck Series returns for round 5 at Auto Club. That is also going to be Thursday night for those of you in the UK, Thursday afternoon for those of us across the pond. And then I am really excited for the East Coast Thunder Esports Summer Showdown presented by Bristol Motor Speedway at Bristol Motor Speedway. Love bringing some modified action to you. That'll be Thursday night for you folks in the U.S. Friday morning for everybody else. Also on Friday is the Apex Racing League Super Trucks Championship Round 3 at Olton Park, a series that needs no introduction if you've been following along, and if you haven't, why haven't you been? That's just a heck of a bunch of fun. Radical Racing Challenge also on Friday, Round 11 at Suzuka. We've got the Formula 3 VRS Super Series Apex Racing Academy Round 5 at Red Bull Ring on Saturday. We've got the Formula 3.5 Championship Round 11 at Spa-Francorchamps on Saturday as well. We've got the Wave Italy Racing League GT Championship Round 9 at Daytona on Sunday. And that will cover the next week on Apex Racing TV until we find you right back here for more awesome action in the Cross Series League Racing. And, well, where can you watch all of that? I think you probably know at this point, but if you're watching on YouTube, you can keep watching it there, or you can tune on over to Twitch and watch us on Apex Racing. No Twitch? No Twitch anymore, so you can watch us on YouTube, which is probably where you're watching it from. Sorry about that, folks. But Apex Racing TV on YouTube is your place for all Apex Racing TV. You can also follow us on all of your favorite social media platforms. That is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Follow us, Apex Racing TV. And that, I think, about covers it. So thank you so much for tuning in for another awesome show from the folks at XSLR. For the rest of us here in the booth, Tyler Newitt, Avery McDonald, Marco Barbanera, thank you so much for joining us as always on Apex Racing TV, and we'll see you next time.